What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Brandon Bennett. Good to see you guys again. I appreciate you tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about why 90% of people fail in the sales industry. So any sales job, any sales you could think of. I'm almost 5 years into virtual life insurance sales. I've made over $2.5 million in my short amount of time with the company. We are blessed. We get free warm leads. We work from home. Scripts are provided, training's provided. We have everything to make somebody succeed in a sales role with our company. Now, if you're thinking 90% is pretty high for the amount of people failing, that means there's only 10% of people who do succeed. What you would call success, in my mind, I would say probably that make over six figures in the last 10 years in the industry would be the 10% who succeed, all right? So first thing I'm gonna talk to you guys about is the reasons why I think it's 90% of people fail, and then kind of my thought process with it, what holds people back, and just, I've been in leadership for 4 years, and what I've learned through my mentors who are worth millions and millions of dollars, and what they have taught me of why I think this is a fact of 90% people fail. The first reason is people don't take risks. Now, if you're a young person watching this video, I would say anywhere from 18 to 25, and you live at home with your parents, okay? You don't have kids, you don't have a family, you're not married, you don't have that many bills. There is no risk, okay? So let's not get that confused with an actual risk, okay? What a real risk would be to work in a sales job is leave your 9 to 5 and go into a sales opportunity where you're 100% commission. I would say the risk there would be if you have kids and you have actual bills that need paid, or a family, a wife, people to take care of, sick family members, etc. You get the point. That would be a real risk. If you're watching this and you've been thinking about getting into sales, you risking moving to Florida, where it's one of the best states in the world, in my opinion, the best weather, the best people. There is no risk of you moving out of your hometown where everybody makes $40,000. That's not a risk. That's actually setting yourself up for betterness in your life. That would not be classified as a risk. So now that we have the definition of a risk assembled and we know what that is, there really isn't anything to worry about. I know the first thing I'm talking about is taking a risk, but there really is no risk getting into 100% commission sales or somewhere where you have to bet on yourself. I think we just don't really know the definition of taking a risk or betting on yourself. So that's what I would say to that. To follow up with that, I would say being comfortable, okay? You guys all watching this have probably been in a point in time where your life where like, hey, everything's good right now, I'm content. If my life went like this the rest of my life, I would be good. If you're in that position, you're never gonna feel fulfillment. And a lot of the times what we do in our life, it's for a sense of fulfillment, like vices, okay? Like anything you do in life, you have to be fulfilled with it or you probably wouldn't do it. Like people go and drink at the clubs and do drugs to get away from reality. It's a fulfillment, they're fulfilling a void. That's what that is. Now, I'm talking about good stuff, things that are gonna better you, development, mindset, spirit, all that stuff. So what I think people do is they get to a place, whether sales wasn't for them and they didn't make money, and they go back to a comfortable life where, okay, I know if I show up to work for X amount of time, I'm gonna make X amount of money, and I'll work my life around that. That's what people work their life around, versus an entrepreneurial mindset or a 1099 worker or somebody in sales who's on 100% commission. They base their work ethic around the life that they want. So it's the total opposite. Not, oh, I'm gonna get paid this and I'll base my life around that. They base how much money they make upon of what they want. That's why that percentage of 10% is so small. And in my last video, I talked about the 1% of the 1% and what it takes to be like that. But now we're talking about why 90% of people fail. So that means only 10% succeed. And the staying comfortable part is really easy to do, especially if, let's say you inherit money and you have something to always fall back on, I've seen it happen in people in our company where if they come from a good background, parents that had money, it's very hard for them to succeed because they always have something, okay, if this goes wrong, well, guess what? I'm not up shit's creek, okay? There's other things I can do. Versus for me, I didn't come from a rich family. So it was like, yo, I either got to get really good at this or I'm going to go back to drinking on the weekend and going to the casino to gamble to try to make money. That was my thought process. So I was like, I got to make this work. There's nothing getting in between me and making this work. All right, so staying comfortable is not in a good, you're not going to be in a good place. There's no fulfillment in that, and there's no growth in that. The third thing I would say is people judge other people. And you probably see this on social media all the time. Like, so the third thing is being judged, whether that's haters, family members, just talking smack, like that's never going to work, of just being judged. And you could be very general with that of like, you know, oh, he's going to do something that's not the traditional path. That's why I think sales and entrepreneurship gets a bad rep at times. Like, oh, they're not going to be normal. Like, they're going to do what they want to do and build their own life. That's not normal. So when you're doing not normal things, people are going to look at you like you're not normal. But guess what that gets you? Not normal results, extraordinary results. That's why 10% of people succeed in sales. The 10% make a shit ton of money. Keep that in mind. But when you're being judged or hated on, you have to keep it as simple as this. Would I trade places with the person who's telling me certain things? Or would I trade places with the person that's in my ear about certain things? That's how simple I keep it. If the answer is no, then don't listen to them. If the answer is yes, listen to them. I was with a lot of my friends. We were in Italy a couple weeks ago, and we were at the dinner table, and there was a conversation that came about the gym and fitness and stuff. And one of the people said, again, this cat's worth millions of dollars. His team's really good with our company. He kept it as simple as this. If it's good for me, I do it. If it's bad for me, I don't do it. So going to the club, bad for me, don't do it. Going to church, good for me, I do it. Going to the gym, good for me, I do it. Training my agents, good for me, I do it. If you keep it as simple as that, that's all you have to do. You're not going to care about who judges you or what they think because, again, their input is invalid unless they're in a place where you would trade places with them. So keep that in mind. Only listen to the people you would trade places with. Now, a couple of the other things that I think hold people back from becoming successful in sales and why 90% of people fail is they can't handle pressure. So what I mean by that, we are in a business where we're 100% commission. So if there is no pressure on you, okay, it's going to be hard for you to kind of get the ball rolling, I guess you could say, because there's been times in my sales career where I did feel comfortable. Like I didn't have to work that hard to make 30 grand a month. And 30 grand a month isn't shit for what I want. I want to be worth millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. That's my vision for myself and my future family and the people that I'll have around me. But being able to not handle pressure, it's one of those things is, again, there's no fulfillment, in my opinion, or growth where there isn't pressure. You should want to feel pressure like, yo, I have to get certain stuff done in order to get what I want. That's why when you work in sales or 100% commission, you build your life around what you want to make an income, not the other way around. It's not, I said this earlier, it's not the other way around where my life is built upon how much money my job's going to pay me. And I think if you don't put pressure on yourself, you start to go the other way of like a 9-to-5 worker, where it's like you don't think or act like a business owner. Think of the best companies in the world. Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, Palantir, Microsoft, Meta, Google, any great company in the world. Imagine how much pressure is on the CEO or the founder of that company. Well, the founder probably really maybe doesn't do much anymore, but imagine a CEO coming into a new company Or forget all those companies. Imagine a CEO coming into a company that's not doing good right now. And his job as a CEO is to turn that company around to bring in revenue and a profit. That's why they bring in new CEOs. That's why pro sports teams bring in new head coaches, is because they sucked. So they need to change. They need to bring in a new head coach to start winning. There's a ton of pressure on those type of people. And then guess what? The reward for that, if you're a CEO who comes into a company that's falling apart and you bring that company back, the amount of pressure that person probably had on themselves is well worth the reward they have gotten. A head coach of a sports team, I think of Indiana football, they just won the national championship. Their coach is actually, I believe, from Pittsburgh. He coached at a local college near Pittsburgh. It was maybe W&J, I think, or something like that, IUP, I don't know, one of the two. But imagine how much pressure he went into Indiana with, okay, I got to turn this team around, and then he's a national champ a couple years later. The reward for that is amazing. I mean, the dude is going to go the rest of his life being remembered as a great leader of a team that he had a lot of pressure on himself and came back and did something with the pressure and made a name for himself in the team, and the rest is history. They won a national championship. And the last thing I'm going to talk to you guys about today is people can't make temporary sacrifices for long-term rewards. So what I mean by that, if you look at any great business owner, they probably went years and years without making money. In our business, it's kind of hard to go years and years without making money. You have to be really, really bad at the job to go without making money for a long period of time. If you look at the temporary sacrifices you would have to make for long-term rewards, I don't even think some of them are sacrifices, but we just kind of throw that word associated as well with risk, like I said at the beginning of this, is a real sacrifice would be if you have a family and you're missing a lot of time from your family. If you're a kid that's 18 to 25 watching this video and want to get into sales, there is no sacrifice you need to make. Missing your cousin's birthday party for him turning 10 years old is not really a sacrifice. It'll all be okay if you're not there. And where my mind goes is, okay, maybe I do have to miss his birthday party, but in 10 years, when he's 20, I'm going to be able to pay for his college. So his parents won't have to worry about that, and nobody has to worry about or stress financially about that stuff. That's my vision of what I can do with money. My whole vision behind what I do and what I build is financial freedom. It's a very broad thing, but what I can do with money for the people around me, not even myself. It's not about me. It's about for the people around me, how I can change their life so they do not have to worry. Because the number one worry in the world is probably finances. The leading cause of divorce is because of finances. Imagine that. And I'm in a position where, thank the Lord, I'm blessed, undeserving of it all, very humble. But I'm in a place where if I keep my head on straight and do what I do, then I'm probably never going to have to worry about that again. And I'm super blessed for the mentors that I have and the people that teach me these things. But that's what I would say is people don't really have a long-term vision and they just get sucked up into the norm. And it all goes back to what's normal. Thinking long-term isn't normal. That's why if you've ever met somebody that's 40 and 50 years old, it's too late for them. They didn't pay the price when they were young. It's either you pay now and play later, or play now, go out to the clubs, go drink with your friends, hang around, do nothing, not work hard. You're going to pay for that later on in your life when you have to work hard because you got a family to feed, versus in your 20s busting your ass so later on in life you don't have to do that. That's why 90% of people fail in sales, because they're not willing to do that. It's very simple. And the last thing I would say is people can't stick to a schedule and a daily routine and a regimen that's going to get them the results. They do it for a month, become undisciplined, maybe they get a little bit of money and they fall off. They get comfortable, they get girlfriends, they do all the extra stuff, spend all their money, have nothing to show for it, and then boom, back to normal, back to having nothing, back to living a lazy life. If you can stick to a daily schedule, listen, getting rich is boring, okay? It's not hard to get rich. We're in 2026, there's thousands of ways to get rich. In my opinion, sales is the easiest, because all it is a transfer of belief and just having good energy on the phones. Having the same schedule every day is boring. Go look at a pro bodybuilder. They eat the same damn things every day for years. That's why they look like they do. So all the rich people in the world, they don't do anything extraordinary. They do the same things every day. The same simple little things get them the extraordinary results. That's what people can't fathom, is if I just do this simple stuff day in, day out for a long period of time, I'm gonna beat most people. In all reality, it's that simple. Don't overcomplicate becoming successful. The 90% of people who fail can't do the things that I just said, but if you can, you will become very successful, whether it's sales, entrepreneurship, whatever the case is, if you're building your own business. So keep that in mind. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you show love, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Brandon.Bennett1. If you are interested in joining the sales team, we work 100% from home, free warm leads, scripts, training, mentorships, all provided. And listen, it's never been easier to make money. Shoot me a message on Instagram. Let's connect. Let's grow. I'll see you guys soon.